And welcome back, guys. If you haven't been here before, my name is Y2K and we are back today with another video. Well, I will say, as per usual, it's been a while, so it's nice to see you guys coming back. But today I'm gonna try my hand at sewing. I've tried my hand at a few modifications before, but very simple stuff like hemming some trousers, maybe cropping a jumper or a t-shirt. But sewing something from scratch has never been something that I have done or thought that I could do. Now, why have I come to do this project, or why have I wanted to start a new skill? And that is very, very simple, okay? Y2K is back in fashion. Now, I don't know how long it's gonna be back in fashion for, but it's been back for a while. I do think it's here to stay. And I am getting quite jealous of seeing people getting to wear their baby tee Y2K styled country tops. Oh, I'm glowing. Ah! I feel like Ariel. Damn, I'm really trying to come for my voice today. Now, this trend started with the Brazilian bikini, with the Brazilian top, with the tank, with the tee, and then it spread. And so other countries got their own baby Y2K tee. Mine hasn't, and I'm jealous. Searched the web to find one, and I found one. But, you know, I want to do it my way. I want to do it right. So, if I can't find one, I will make it myself. This is the perfect project for me to try and sew and for me to get a new skill. So strap in, because I'm going to show you all the mistakes, all the bumps in the road that I have, because this isn't a Y2K project without me failing a couple of times. But we did get to the end with a successful product. Now, I won't show you just yet the final, you know, Y2K baby tee country design. This video, you're just gonna get to see the t-shirts that I have made for this project, and then in the future I will show you guys, when I actually manage to get there to do the embroidery, how that turns out. Now, obviously, I know you haven't seen anything yet, we're just getting started with the video, but if you want to see more types of these videos, please do subscribe, because we do a crap ton of projects on this channel that are very different every single time. So if you want some variety, this is the place to watch and stay. So subscribe, click the like, click the notification bell so you know when I do upload, and do leave a comment so that I know what you thought about this project. So thank you, and let's get to it. So the first thing that I did was actually design the design and kind of debate on what colors I wanted. Now, the colors I went off of was of a t-shirt that I found on eBay of someone selling this kind of top, but I didn't want to pay delivery. I'm gonna be honest, okay? I didn't want to pay as much delivery as much shirt, so that's why also I kind of decided to do this project by myself. I went for the classic blue and yellow trim combo. And then the second option was a more light blue with the golden yellow, but that was inspired by the Barbados tops that I was seeing in Y2K style fashion, and it had a raglan cut rather than just a typical contrasting neckline, sleeve. So I'm kind of a sucker for a raglan cut. That's one of my favorite cuts. I think it's very, very flattering. So I was stuck. Okay, in my original design I went for the classic, but in my mind I'm like, I'm obsessed with this raglan cut. I want to try and do that too. Now, if you guys are from the same generation as me, you are like within the early 2000s, then you grew up watching Winx Club. And so I was not only inspired by the Barbados top, I was also inspired by my girly Bloom from the Winx, okay? And that classic baby tee that was blue and yellow was iconic. In my mind, I would make two tops. I already decided that the contrasting neckline and sleeve was gonna be my country top, and then the raglan was gonna be my Winx Club homage, so that's what we kind of went with. So enough rambling, and let's actually take our butts to a place where we can buy fabric and supplies. So I took myself down to Gold Hawk Station, where the entire high street is full of fabric stores, some specialty and some just, you know, for the basic goods, such as jersey material, which is what I was looking for. Now, I will say I got pretty lucky. I found my fabric in the second store that I went into, but I still looked around just to see what the place had to offer, and there was a massive selection from a lot of the stores. Like I said earlier, I'm a big fan of the Raglan, and I have 3 that I absolutely love and wear all the time, but I needed to pick which one I was going to use as my base to make this top, because I wanted it to be tight fitted like these, but I still wanted it to be nice and cropped. So now it's time to just get some paper and draw out the pattern. I'm gonna need more paper. I'm still struggling about which one to pick, I'm gonna be honest. And before I've even started, I've also gone to get a needle, because I read online that someone said you can use a needle to poke through the front of the shirt into the paper so that you can outline it accurately. So I'm hoping that's gonna work. Let's hope I don't lose that needle. Again, I am a noob, so if you are a professional sewer or you sew a lot during your time, then I'm sorry. I really am. Brother, how? Hi. I hope you're okay. My patterns are ours, don't even come for me. Okay, don't even do it. And here I just picked a crop top that I like the way it sits on me to sketch out for the contrasting top. I have bought my fabric like a couple of days ago now. I have got a nice yellow, and I couldn't pick between the 2 blues, so I decided to go for a light blue and a dark blue. I got ½ a meter on all of them, and I decided to go for these 2 colors as well for the stitching. The yellow is almost an identical match, but the blue, I had a problem. In the shop that I was looking at, they didn't have an exact match. So this is darker than the lighter shade, but this is also lighter than the darker shade that I have. Now, I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem, because I think I'm going to be doing contrasting stitches. So I want to do the blue on the yellow, and then I want to do the yellow on the blue. Now we're going to do some tests after I do my pinning and everything to see what I like more, and maybe I'll find out that I want to keep them in their main colors. We'll see. So I have traced out all my patterns onto like just random paper that I had, and so it's just going to consist of me cutting these out of the correct fabrics. So I'm hoping this is correct. I hope this works out. If it doesn't, that's why we have more fabric. I think we can get this done. I think we'll be fine. So all that's left, I think, is to cut the fabric and try this out. So let's go. Let's go with the yellow. I really like the feel of this material as well. It's really nice. I'm gonna be honest as well. I don't know fabric compositions or specific things about fabric. So when I went into the shop, all I said to them was, I need stretch cotton. Incorrect statement to be making when I'm looking for t-shirt material, especially a stretchy t-shirt material, like the crop top baby tee kind. So every single time they showed it to me, I was like, oh yeah, like definitely. And then I'd look at it and I'd be like, that is completely wrong. And I went to the first store and she was like, oh, do you need like a jersey material? And in my mind, when I heard jersey, I thought of like, you know, jersey joggers, you know, the thick woolen kind. And I was like, oh yeah, absolutely not jersey. And she was like, well, sorry, that's all that we have. So I like left that store, not have even looked at their options. But then when I went through a couple of places and they kept showing me the stretch cottons and I was like, no, that's not right, that's not right. And then I got to like one shop where I went down to the basement and he showed me the stretch cottons and I was like, do you have anything that's like my top right now? So the guy came and like touched my top and was like, yeah, that's the entire section there. And it literally was all labeled jersey. And I just sat there and I was like, wow, talk about having no knowledge about what you're looking for. He's down. Guys, I'm such a noob, it's so bad. Me and my pins. Did I use really like thick paper by accident? This is so difficult, why? I actually should have bought a pizza roller. My problem is yuck. Am I just stupid?
No.
Am I just stupid? Ja nie rozumiem. Dla mnie they're the same problem. So I'm gonna put cutting the fabric on hold for now, and I've just ordered my fabric pizza cutter. That's what it looks like, and it's coming tomorrow. So when it comes tomorrow, then I'll cut my fabric. For now, I'm gonna see if I can figure out this stitch thing. It is the next day. I'm still waiting for my ruler to come. It should come later on. But in the meantime, to not waste time, I'm gonna do a test on this spare piece of fabric that I have to do a contrasting stitch to see if I prefer it over a regular stitch. I also did some research and I kind of want to do that contrast stitch that it was quite popular not that long ago, a contrasting top stitch. And I found out that you have to use a top stitch machine for that. So someone gave some recommendations on how to do it with a regular sewing machine. So that's what I'm going to try test out. Like, I just need to work on my skills, I think, because I feel like it's cuter, but it's not the best. Maybe I should just cut my losses and try to do yellow so that no one can see my shit stitching. We'll find out. What I ended up using was this kind of zigzaggy stitch, but not really. It's called a lightning stitch, I think. And so the same stretch that I need that a zigzag stitch would do, but the zigzag is very obvious. And so instead, this is a good in the middle between a regular straight stitch and then a zigzag stitch. So it kind of just goes like this. So it's very minimal, but it's also very stretchy. She has arrived and it is literally 9:16, but we're gonna try use this, okay? Let's hope this works. Oh my god, that was so smooth, what the hell? Oh my god. I gotta be careful, I'm scared for my fingers. So let's start off with the first top. And here are all the components. It is 2 bases, 2 sleeves, 2 trims, 1 neck trim. And the first thing we're going to do is stitch up the shoulders and the sides. You can see me here already making my first mistake. I tried to hem the bottom, but the zigzag stitch scrunched it all up and made it look more like a lettuce end. So I'm gonna have to unstitch all of that. Regardless, the first step is done successfully. We have our base and I'm very proud of myself, as you can see. Low-key, this kind of tank is kind of cute too. And now it's time to attach the trim to the sleeves. So the way I did this was I used some needles to pin it down to make sure it was all aligned before I went to sew. The next thing was to fold in the seam and fold it again so that the other side is nice and clean. And again, I used pins for this. And here's my finished seam. As you can see, I'm again super proud of myself because I just can't believe how clean this is coming out. Okay, it's the next morning and I've been troubleshooting this sleeve for the entire morning and I finally have managed to make it fit onto the shirt nicely. So let's try stitch. So like I said earlier, my pattern work was absolutely horrific, so there were a lot of things that weren't aligning. Thank God this was a stretchy material, otherwise probably nothing would have aligned and it would have flopped really badly. So we did our best. I have done a sleeve. I have done a sleeve. I sorted it out, like I actually managed to get it right. Oh my god. And here comes the neckline. So with this neckline, I cut it out just a little bit smaller than the actual neck hole so I could stretch the fabric and so that it sat a little tighter. I didn't want the neckline to be super high on this top. I just wanted it to be a standard rounded neck and it worked out very well actually. I found sewing the second layer of folding to be a very stressful process because this fabric was stretchy, so I really did struggle to keep it in check the entire time, and even ironing didn't help too much. And well, I just kind of held my breath until I got to see it after I finished. we have a shirt. But I'm gonna put yellow trim on the bottom. I think that's what's missing. I was originally not going to put any trim on the bottom, but I really did feel like it was a missing link, and so I did add it at the last minute. But guys, I was so excited throughout this entire project. I was so proud of myself. I finally understood why people sewed their own stuff. And now let's move on to our second top, which is Winx and Bloom inspired, and off we go. So this top consisted of 2 base pieces, 2 shoulders, and 1 neck seam as well. And the first step is to stitch both of the sleeves onto the front panel. And here I am just pinning that first sleeve to the front panel, making sure it's all aligned with some pins. On the previous top, I decided to keep the seams in their respective colours, but in this top, I decided to seam everything in just the dark blue because it just gave that little bit of contrast, and also it just made my life a little bit easier so I didn't have to switch stitch. And as you can see here, I've stitched the shoulder pieces onto the front and back panels, but I haven't done the side seams yet because it has to be a continuous seam. And here I'm just using the iron because we are going to be sewing down the sleeves, so they have to be nice and hemmed and straight. I'm thinking if I'm going to continue doing these sort of sewing projects, I'm going to buy some clips instead of the pins, because the pins are really annoying to take out and stop stitching and take them out. So we'll see how that goes. And here is the sleeve. And here is the second sleeve as well. Time to finally do the inseam for the sleeves and the sides. I haven't mentioned it, but my seam allowance was 1 centimeter. I really wanted to give myself the room for mistakes. So my camera keeps dying when I need to show you what I'm stitching, but we have gotten to this part. All that I have left to do is the neckline and the bottom hem. Now let's sew in the neckline. Unlike the other one, I didn't cut the neckline smaller. It was almost the same length as the neckline for the shirt. And now let's hem the bottom of the top with no added colour or trim. We were coming to the conclusion of this top. This was the final step, and I did this in a day, unlike the other top, which was 2. And we are finished with the project! So you bloody thought, because so did I, and I lied to myself because I can never do things right on the first go. It looks good. That's fine. The only problem being the neck is not fine. Look at it. It's very... like, can you see how much it sticks up? So last night, I basically finished the entire shirt, but when I put it on, I realized that all of this puckered up too much. So I think that... well, my game plan is to unstitch this. I've already unstitched the other side that I sewed, which is just depression. And then I'm going to cut the back up to like maybe the yellow, just to be a bit of a bigger circle so that when it sits, it doesn't pucker up so much. And then I'm also going to make the neckline smaller so that it kind of like cinches it in a little bit. So I began unpicking the seam whilst watching a video essay about the Winx Club and ranking their transformations in order. Very fitting, I think. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I really do hope you have enjoyed it. It's a little bit different to the other videos that I have made, and again, that is a standard of this channel. You're never going to see the same thing twice. So if you do like what you have seen, please do subscribe, leave a like, click the notification bell, and leave a comment as well, and share this video around so other people can see it too. You can also catch me on my socials, which is TikTok, Instagram, and I also do have a website, so check that out. And now, for the last time and the real time, let's actually see the final results of both the tops. But otherwise, guys, thank you so much, and see you next time.